All right, welcome to Max Effort Kitchen podcast. Cornell, I got two. Happy St. Patty's Day. Is that a thing? I don't know. And also happy birthday. I know you had a birthday recently. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. Busy day, lots of stuff we talked about a little bit earlier, but I don't know if we'll touch on any of that stuff. But it was just a busy, good weekend.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. Good weekend. Yeah. I'll just jump right into it. Another Special Olympics event today. It was an all day. We got there, I don't know, probably Alana and Maddie got there around 10 o'clock. Jack and I got there around 11. We didn't leave till 5. It was 3 games, 3-on-3. And I can't be more proud, be more of a proud father when I'm going to these things, but something else happens within me that it just it really humbles me in the fact that we have sports in our lives at all levels, I guess you could say. Uh-huh. It's just one of those events, and I come out of it every time, and we talk about it every time about how the effort that these athletes are putting in and how it's successful they are. And so it's really cool, and it's a really neat event. And I really encourage anybody out there that if you have Special Olympics in your town, in your city, whatever, get involved, go watch one, just go check it out because wow, it's pretty incredible. Maddie's team ended up taking second in the tournament, which was cool. And I looked at her and I go, bro, I got to build you a medal board because now you have 4 medals. What the hell, dude? Just a really exhausting day, but very, very cool. Just all around being engulfed in sports.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Super fun. She has track coming up in about 3 weeks, so she has a nice 3-week break. I had her take a hot bath today because she was complaining about being sore. I'm like, yeah, I got you.
Nice.
So enough of that. Oh, what? Hey,
yep.
Did you buy your $105 virus tights?
No, I didn't know if we were going to talk about this or not. I don't know how much I want to get into it.
I don't really know anything about it. I just saw somebody post something about tights for $105, and I was like, wow, that's a lot.
I think it was joggers, and they were the ones I was wearing. Nice. And I did listen to a lot of the stuff going on where they tried to explain and dance around what everyone really wants to know. And I think she kept saying there's confidential stuff that we can't talk about. It's if you just say what that is, I think a lot of people will stop.
Yeah.
Or trying to read through the lines and the conspiracies that are going on, what valid points that people are making.
Yeah. Transparency is a huge thing, especially in business.
Yeah.
We deal with this in our business, and you probably deal with it in your business when, but the value and the weight of transparency is going to make your customers happy, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I would say, here's my 2 cents on clothing really quick.
Okay.
I don't like to wear tights very often. I'm not saying I never do, but I don't wear them very often because I don't like to have to wear different layers that I have to take off and get to the gym, put something different on. And then I don't really want to stop at the grocery store and be wearing my tights. And I'm also definitely not someone, I think you look like an idiot if you're wearing shorts with tights underneath. That's just my personal opinion.
I'm with you on that.
But I'm if I'm going to wear shorts, I'm not going to wear tights.
Well, it's interesting because I like that you said that because Damon every now and then will invite me out to his big fancy gym. Mm-hmm. And every time I'm getting ready, I'm like, oh man, okay, so wait, I got to wear something there, and then I got to change, and then I got to wear something away, and what do I got to pack multiple things to clothing? And I'm like, I don't want to do that. It's always this 15 minutes of whatever. I'm just gonna throw some in a bag and figure it out. But yeah, I own virus tights, but that's because I bought them at a meat. They were like $35. So,
I have a handful of them, and there was a time where I wore them a lot, and then I just kind of stopped. I do have the ones from Weightlifting House that those are really nice. If I'm gonna wear them, those are going to be the ones that I wear.
right.
The nicest material that I've ever. I guess it's the same material as a singlet, but
Yeah. Man, I think you saw me wearing last time you were up here for that meet. You saw me wearing a pair of their I don't know what they are. They're like the hybrid tight jogger pants things. Those things are tight on me.
Yeah.
And you were like, "Hey, Matt, what size are those you wearing there?" And I don't think I put them on since, but I was like, "Yeah, I think I've grown out of these." And then the pockets are all ripped out and everything, and it's just like, yeah. So.
Well, this isn't me trying to like put down Virus. This is just going to be an honest like review and opinion on the different stuff that's out there and the cost for all of them.
Yeah.
We have some friends very close friends who work for Vuori.
Okay. Yes. Yep.
Vuori hooks it up with all coaches. If you're a coach, you have a level 1 of any form at all, you can apply, and it only takes it takes like 10 minutes to do, and then you're supposed to find out in 30 days. I found out like 2 days later, 40% off.
That's amazing, like, dude.
40% off.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so that's boom right there. Their Sunday joggers, I think, are amazing. I have 2 pairs that are over 2 years old.
Wow.
And the problem with the Virus is the KL ones, those are like the ones that most people were getting. They have the welded seams.
Mm-hmm.
6 to 9 months later, you put it in the washer or dryer a couple of times and they're shot.
Yep.
And those are the ones that are like $100 now.
Yeah.
And the Vuori are $90. That's the normal price. So right around there with the same as the Virus, but 40% off. Like that's borderline unbeatable.
It really is. And especially when you go and you see Vuori like at Nordstrom's rack or even Nordstrom's, like, you got Vuori's price plus the Nordstrom's price. Mm-hmm. Dude, just go straight to their website and check it out. This is not a promotion by any means. No. We have friends that work for that. Like, and also it's a quality product. It really is.
Yeah. And I can wash and dry the Vuori stuff, and I have no issue.
Yep.
But I will say, if you want to get the meat and potatoes, in my opinion, best pants for your dollar, it's the Adidas, I think the soccer pants. Their normal price is like $49. Most of the time you can find them dang near anywhere for $39. And I just got rid of 2 pairs because I wore them for 9 years.
Yeah. 9 years is a lot.
I didn't need to get rid of them. I was just like, okay, I have like every color Vuori now. I don't need to have these like 2 or 3 other pairs of Adidas. And then I forgot my stuff, my pants, go to the gym. I had my bag. So I stopped in at Dick's Sporting Goods and paid $38.99 and got another pair. And I got to say, they do fit a lot better for lifting, and they're just bulletproof. So.
Right. That's good. Yeah. I think the idea of having a quality thing that you lift in and all that, I've had all of, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, all that. I think Under Armour's okay. I've had a pair of 3/4 Under Armours that have lasted me for probably 6 years now. Now I will tell you that, and I think that this is a little caveat here. I do wear them under shorts, but it's just because it's so damn cold in my garage. I need to stay warm. So I layer up, and I literally will put compression, tights, and then shorts on just so I can stay warm. And that's just during the winter. And then,
it's also your garage. You could lift naked in there and no one can tell you.
No one could tell you that. Exactly. Now I will tell you that I do bust out the jorts in the summer, and that I don't know if I've gone past that fad or not, or if it was a fad at all. Anyways, so something I've been meaning to ask you, Cornell. I've been seeing a little bit of it online. I've heard you talk about it a little bit, and I've never actually directly said anything. Dude, what's going on with the new form?
Changing things up.
I like it.
I went for years listening to people kind of battle back and forth between the battle between triple extension and catapult.
Okay.
And I've listened to so many different podcasts where people had differing opinions and they would fight to the death on these things.
Mm-hmm.
But then some of the funny parts is you'd listen to one side and they would put out a lifter and say, this is the perfect one who is showing you how catapult should be done. And then a week or two later, they had someone else on and they said the same person is doing exactly how triple extension should be done. It's like, well, wait a minute. You guys both think they're doing it your way. And I was like, I don't think that. I think it's just going to be people lift the way they lift.
Yeah.
But if you're being ingrained by your coach that you need to do it in a certain way because that's how they do it, I don't know if that's necessarily the right way. And I've recently, I know that I lift different than basically I'm supposed to. If you're going textbook of how lifting should be taught,
right?
I lift different. I don't teach the way that I lift because I know what works for me. And I know that I found what works for me by trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also been doing this now over a decade. And I'm kind of at that point where it's not working anymore. Like I've peaked what it can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I one of the ones I was listening to was the Weightlifting House with Norik, and he broke it down. I'd listened to this one 2 or 3 times over the last like 5 or 6 years, but this is the first time it really clicked and stuff was making sense. And I'm just not trying to be I'm going to be just as hip dominant. I'm going to use my hips just as strongly as I do, but I'm trying not to lay back as far, and I'm trying to keep it much more vertical.
Mm-hmm.
And the lifts they feel weird, but I'm hitting 99%.
Yeah.
And I haven't pushed for that 101% more than like twice. And both times were very solid attempts.
Yeah. So when I came down there, or when we all came down there for that boys weekend, last July or June or whatever it was, one of the things that Stephanie kind of pulled me aside was like, hey, why are you leaning back and you're clean? You know, why are your arms are straightening and you're leaning back? It's like, I want you to try this. I want you to try to stay vertical and, you know, pull up as she didn't say pull up as you're going down, but that's kind of how I interpreted it.
The shrug is under.
Yeah. Yep. And so I started doing that. And I've been really trying to incorporate that in. I think one of my biggest challenges is when that weight gets really heavy, my body wants to revert to what I used to do, which is pull back, lean back really hard, and then try to get under it really quick. But I've seen it happen where when I didn't do that and I stayed really vertical and I just placed that bar behind me, it feels so weightless.
Yeah.
It feels so good. It's smooth. And like, it's not this like, it's not like this close your eyes and panic moment. It's like, it's almost like the difference between closing your eyes and panicking and knowing what you're doing or feeling what you're doing. I don't know if that's a really good way to explain it, but I like it personally.
Yeah. So what I was just recently talking this week to somebody about the whole like changing your technique and how it works. And I said, they're like, I can hold it to 70%. And then after 70%, I revert back. It's like, okay, that's great. Keep trying. Keep trying.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to hold that to 75%. And then you're going to hold it to 80. And then you're only going to break down. You're not going to break down as far into the bad technique, or I know I'm calling it bad technique, whatever.
It's fine.
The technique you're trying to break your habit of.
Yes, exactly.
And what Norik was saying is if you have a more vertical bar, the bar is just going to go up, and then you just catch it. Yeah. And you don't have to be doing all these funky things and pushing your head through and really straining your shoulders and losing lifts behind, Because
Yeah.
that was what he said, is if you look at these people who just lay back and hit like that, they're just very horizontal lifters, they lose lifts behind all the time.
Right.
And I
Which
was like,
makes sense.
yeah, I was like, I've strained shoulders. I've made it. My whole purpose of lifting right now, or not the purpose, but the only thing that's really going to ever stop me from lifting is if I get hurt.
Yeah.
And if I'm putting myself through all these really bad positions where I have to save lifts, I'm not going to be able to last that long, especially with the weights that I'm still attempting to push. And
yeah, you have a really good point. I think it's one of those things that when you find something that works for you and it feels good, just do it. If people want to do the catapult, let them do the catapult. That's cool. If it works for them, great. But I think in the terms of efficiency and the terms of, I guess, bar path and bar movement and body movement and body path, I don't even know if that's a thing, but like staying vertical seems more logical, right?
Mhm.
Pulling back feels like you're, like it's the difference between maybe shooting an arrow versus a slingshot. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not, but a slingshot seems more clunky, more like, it's not going to go as far. But when you've got a bow and arrow, you have certain tensions, you have very strict lines. I don't know. It could be in my view, in my perspective, it seems like a more efficient way to lift. I've never missed. Okay. I don't know if this is a good thing. I'm not bragging about this by any means. I've never missed a bar out behind me. It's never dropped behind me. I've dropped a whole shitload in front of me,
Sure.
but I've never dropped one behind me. So I can't say I've had the same experience with dropping behind, but I do know that it's that like close your eyes and pray and hope that I get under there quick enough so it doesn't crash on me. I know it crashes on me a lot more when I'm pulling my body back, but efficiency. It's all about efficiency and logical to me. That's kind of how my brain works. And so when she started talking to me about that, I was like, okay, I'm going to put some effort into it. I'm not going to expect it to happen overnight. It's been almost 9 months and it's still not perfected. Probably won't be perfected, but
Sure.
It's getting better. And my lockout's getting better. Bar path is getting better. And so I've been watching you do it. And like from my view, it looks like your body is moving in a way that it hurts less, but I know that the perspective is way off there. So
No, it's definitely hurting a lot less. The first time I really visually saw it was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had, I think, some open sets and for doubles in the snatch. And
right.
I ended up hitting 135 for a double. And I'm not trying to brag about this. It looked like 100 kilos to me. Like that was the best double I feel like I've ever done in my life. And it was just, I caught it perfect. I stood it up. I didn't have to like save it.
Yeah.
Like I used to have a coach who used to kind of brag about that he saves snatches better than anyone else in the world.
Right.
And anytime I heard that I'm like, it's not a thing to brag about, that you have to save all of your snatches.
Right.
Isn't it better to just do it properly instead of have to be athletic and save it?
Now, would you say that if a lifter is kind of struggling here in this realm, and I think you might have already said this, but I'm going to ask it again. It's better to maybe drop, your max, so your percentages drop a little bit, so you can work on a form at a smaller weight and then start to rebuild.
100% on that one.
Okay.
So one of my other things that I used to have a lot of issues that I broke down a couple years ago is I know you don't move your feet, and that's something that I think we should work on after nationals.
Hey, we're on the same page here. Don't even worry.
But I didn't even want to say that until after, but whatever.
No, it's all good.
I was really bad at moving my feet because I have different length femurs. I've been x-rayed standing up. So like I have proof for some of this stuff. If anyone's seen me squat, they know that it's a wild ride back there.
Yeah.
And I was on a program for 2.5, almost 3 years that was max effort. So push to the max, always pushing. What that does is it doesn't allow you to live in that 70 to 80% range to fix technique.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't till when I was on that team, I had to secretly do a different program so I didn't get kicked off the team. And I was doing weightlifting AI, and it held me in that really good rep range for about 6-7 weeks of a 10-week cycle.
Yeah.
And what it did is it allowed me to learn how to move properly, move my feet properly.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, I think it was a 10-week cycle. Other than the last 2 weeks of max out, or like where you got to max out and it was like testing weeks,
Mm-hmm.
I missed 2 snatches out of the entire cycle.
Okay.
And the first one, no, they were both day 2 of week 1.
Crazy.
And from that point on, I was hitting doubles and triples at very heavy percentages, but that it held me in the really good rep ranges for a very long time. And my technique completely changed footwork wise.
That's, I like that. Kind of going backwards. Yes, we will work on my feet because there's something that I've been noticing over the past, I think 16-ish weeks that I've been on this, like the cycle or whatever it is. There's probably a dozen lifts that I would have made with ease if I would have just moved my feet in a better position in the catch. And I've told myself that after Masters, it's going to happen. So that's besides the point. I think what you're saying is so beneficial for people to hear, but it's also it's a really smart and logical way to think about your weightlifting. And if you're in it for this like long time thing, and if you want to do it for a long time, you just kind of got to accept that like you're gonna have to break shit down in order to rebuild in a better form. Just like when you rebuild an engine, right? Or it's like when you rebuild anything, really, you're doing it to clean the machine, to put better parts in, and to make it perform better. That's the whole purpose of a rebuild in most cases. And to understand that this realm in weightlifting, we always want to be moving up, always want to be trending up. But I mean, look at the stock market. It trends up and then it drops and then it goes back up and then it drops. Kind of think of it like that. Like you gotta take a step back and say, hey, there's A, B, and C wrong, or I'm hurting myself, or something's going on. I can't break through, the 110 or 105 or 80 kilos or whatever it is. Like I'm going to step back. I'm going to break down my form. I'm going to take my ego out of it, and I'm just going to rebuild. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. And oftentimes people say like, oh, you got to take 2 steps back to take 3 steps forward. Well, that's a lie.
Yeah, no.
You're going to take like 8 steps back, but then you're going to take like 20 steps forward once you figure it out.
Exactly.
But it's real hard to take. It's easy to take a step back and just be like, oh, I'll give it a day.
Yep.
But to take like, let's just say each step is a week, you're gonna backtrack for 8 weeks, but then you're just gonna take off flying. Yeah. And
I think it's important to remember to not give up. Like it's not an easy process. We're making it. We may make it sound. Some of my people might think we're making it sound easy. It's not. It's, you've put so many years into this and then you're like, I got to start over again. But I can tell you that like, just don't quit. Just keep going. Just keep trying. Even if it's a scaled back version, even if it's like, I'm going to do, 2 days of bodybuilding stuff and then 3 days of working on this new technique, keep pushing forward. and if you want to, and if you love the sport in the way that you feel you love it. Like for me, when I'm done with this competition next week, hell yeah, I'm going to take a week off. Hell yeah, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to be like, okay, I know what I need to fix, because it all showed its nasty ass head over this past 2-3 months. Like, I know, and I can't wait for that, but I also am very excited for the break.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, back to the laying back technique versus the more vertical.
Yep.
I don't want this to be like I don't want this to sound weird, or I don't want this to sound like I'm trying to talk about the Bible, but we all know David and Goliath, the story.
Yes.
The slingshot David used. Okay, I wasn't there, but I'm pretty sure it didn't have a little leather pouch and rubber bands and a Y-shaped piece of wood.
Wait, hold on. You weren't there? Okay, cool.
From everything that I have heard and seen and everything, that the old school slingshots were basically 2 strings of leather with a little pouch.
Okay.
And they'd spin them around really fast and then huck them really
fast. It's like this and whoosh,
yeah,
like a lasso or whatever, or a whip or something. Yeah.
So if you think about that, like, you can be very powerful with something like that.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be very accurate.
Correct.
And then slingshots they've changed technology too.
I know.
And now you can put that rock in the little leather pouch and pull it back and aim it, and it's not swinging around, and you're going to be more likely to hit your target.
Yeah, the accuracy.
That's kind of how I'm looking at the technique change.
I like that. That totally makes sense, and I think that's a good spot to kind of just like wrap that one and say this. The one thing, Cornell, the one thing I like about you, and the reason why I think we work so well on this, is because you're not afraid to share your opinion. There's so many people out there that just you say something and they don't want to tell you their opinion. They're like, oh man, that's tough. I'm like, oh, okay. Guess I'm not talking to the right person. But so, anybody listening, remember, like, we're opinions. We're just sharing. We're talking about it. We're hoping this brings some new light to anybody who listens, and there's no judgment or whatever behind it. But thank you for sharing the opinion on that. I like it. Okay. I love it. Okay. So my next thing I wanted to talk to you about, and this kind of works right into this, which is another technique driven thing. And that's eccentric movements. And do they belong in weightlifting? I can tell you that anytime I've done eccentric work, it makes me feel like I have a little bit more control, but I don't know. I don't do enough of it. Have you had any experience with it?
So I've done a lot of eccentric stuff. Eccentric doesn't even necessarily have to be, you mean like borderline hang, like slowing down the hang a little bit.
Yeah. Or when you're doing like a snatch, like a snatch grip pull, right? Sure. And you get to the top and then you slowly lower it down.
Yep.
With control. It's like anything where you do with control to work against gravity.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different reasons why it's very good.
Yeah.
I can't really think of too many reasons it's not.
Yeah, I know, right?
Other than you're going to get heavily fatigued a lot quicker because of time under tension.
Yes.
I'm thinking about like squats, and I'm thinking about very heavy deadlifts.
Yeah.
But I was helping coach. I'm not the head coach, but I'm the backup technique helper for the beginner class on Saturdays at my gym.
Okay.
And this new guy moved very well. I was shocked. And he's got these giant fluffy, what's that shoe company, like Hova or something? They're like,
oh, yeah.
They're like you could jump out of a building and land on me to be fine.
Yes.
I'm trying to show him like proper foot pressure, and I'm like, I can't even work with it.
Wait, he didn't have lifters on.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So,
okay.
I mean, I think he's only taken like one-on-one class, and he did like a month of CrossFit. So
no. Okay. Well, never mind. Yeah. Sorry.
But he moved really well. We were just doing cleans, but he was keeping that bar like 3 inches away from him the whole time.
Wow.
So then I said, you know
That's
what?
good.
We're not going to go from the floor.
Yeah.
I want you to do a low hang, like a floating hang. I don't want you to touch the ground or touch the floor with the bar, because I have issues if I'm trying to do like where you just touch the ground barely and then go, because one side always touches just a tiny bit earlier and that can throw everything off. Let's bring it down to like almost the floor. And we added some weight, and then he couldn't hold the bar 3 inches out. He had to be, that bar was going to travel in the very vertical straight line that it's supposed to.
Right.
And that's one of the really great parts with eccentric work is you're going to be centered. If you're centered in your foot, you're going to keep that bar moving the way it's supposed to go. Correct. Just the opposite direction. And then you're also teaching that your body kind of how it's supposed to go, the muscle memory and the pattern.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. And what you just said kind of all summed up in my head is like, if you have more control, you're going to lift better. And eccentric work helps you with that control and helps you with the pressure and all that stuff. So I like it. I used to do a lot of it in CrossFit. I used to work a lot of eccentric stuff. I can tell you with a very, very, very 100% hand that when I'm back squatting and it's really heavy, I make my lower really slow, because when I do that, it just feels like I can get out of it a lot better instead of just like dropping down, like I'm slowly going down. I'm pretty sure that's a pretty standard thing. I'm going to guess it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of coaches who've said that like every squat should be slower on the way down than the way up.
Yeah.
If you're going slower on the way up than the way down, most likely it's a one rep, or it's too heavy for you to be doing realistically. Like you're going to get a lot more out of doing a little bit lighter weight properly than you will just being like an ego lifter and pushing it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I guess bottom line. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's also a reason why there's a whole lot of lifters who can lift more weight from the hang than they can from the floor. Yeah. Because it's going to force you to be in that better position. Yeah.
I am one of those lifters, I mean, 2 years before I clean and jerk 140, I did it in a hang, and it was like, what? I remember that was like mind blowing. I think that pretty much sums that up. Like, do eccentric work, and even when you're rebuilding, work in that eccentric work, and that'll help the rebuild. Well, I think, dude, you were saying something about breakfast. I got to hear about this breakfast. I also have something about breakfast I want to, talk about, but you go first.
All right. Super easy recipe right here.
Okay.
2 ingredients.
Okay. Love it already.
It's totally not 2 ingredients, but it's only 2 ingredients you have to buy.
Okay, cool.
So I have this air fryer that I'm using like every single day.
Okay.
So I saw this on Instagram. I changed one of the main ingredients to they did, so you get the like little can you pop of croissants.
Okay.
Unroll that whole thing. There was 8 in this pack. I took 2 per to make a little rectangle instead of a triangle.
Yep.
And then they took Cadbury cream eggs.
Oh my God.
And I looked at those, and then right next to them, they had Oreo cream eggs. So I got the Oreos.
Of course you did. Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
So I took the little rectangle that I had, and they showed it where they like rolled it up and made it look all pretty and stuff. And I'm like, no, this is street cooking. This isn't like fancy. I'm going to serve it to you and it's going to look better. Yeah. So I turned it into like a little dough snowball.
Okay. I like it. I'm
fully
liking this.
Sealed it off. And I got to be honest, after it came out of the air fryer, it looked awesome.
I bet it did.
Put it in there for about 6 minutes, took it out, let it cool for just about a minute and a half. Okay. I cut it in half. It's oozing. It's got Oreo cream filling and chocolate. And it's like the best donut you've ever had. And
oh my God.
2 ingredients. Gonna give you diabetes.
Yeah.
And And you're like, you know what? This was worth it.
You're gonna catch the diabetes. Yes. Holy crap, dude. Okay, so
And it was
those things.
5 minutes. 5
those
minutes at 400.
5 minutes at 400. Okay, I'm writing this down, even though I don't need to because I will remember it. Those Cadbury eggs are like my. Like, it doesn't even matter if Alana's trying to really like suck up to me, she'll bring some of those home to me because she knows that like they supersede everything.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I am going to do that. So my thing, actually, it's not even my thing. Alana the other day goes, "Hey, I made this basic beef frittata, which is basically just taking eggs and throwing breakfast sausage, onions, and like bell peppers, chopped up bell peppers in a mixture, putting it in a baking dish, baking it off, right?"
Nice.
And every morning we'd cut out a little square, throw it on like a toasted English muffin, a piece of cheese, like American cheese. I'm going to throw some hot sauce on mine. And dude, it's like the perfect breakfast sandwich while you're driving,
Nice.
just driving down the road. And it's not messy.
Yeah.
We tried it with avocado. Don't do the avocado if you're driving because that doesn't work. I'll just put it that way. But if you're looking for like a really good, solid egg breakfast, going down the road, walking out of the house, put it in your hand, like that's the way to go. It was really great. And it was flavorful.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Other thing I tried,
Well, yeah.
2 more seconds.
Yeah. Oh, we got plenty of time. Yeah.
If you have store-bought cookies that are like the kind of fresh, like not like the crunchy, like
the chewy ones. Yeah.
Throw that in the air fryer at 400 for like 30 seconds, and it tastes like it just came out of the oven. I did that for breakfast.
Dude, you know what? We might be able to compile probably 10 of our episodes and just do an air fryer recipe book because I'm loving this, dude. This is awesome. It's interesting because you're kind of like the air fryer is kind of newish to you, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got it for Christmas.
And you got it for Christmas. Like, and I love all these things you're doing, dude. I'm doing that Cadbury egg thing. I'm telling you, like, my kids are going to love it. My wife is going to hate that I'm doing it.
The other great part is it was 10 for $10.
Yeah.
The croissant was like $3.50 for basically 4.
Yeah,
like it said
exactly.
8, 4. So
super
I mean, for $5-6, you could make a very sweet breakfast treat. I mean, it's cheaper than donuts.
Yeah. You go buy a dozen donuts, man. I'll tell you, there's a place I'm sure you guys have places down there that are like this too, but like there's a place called Blue Star up here. Mm-hmm. You can't get out of there without spending $50 on a dozen donuts. $50.
We have a couple places like that. There's a cronut place over by the
Oh,
pier.
the cronuts are good though.
Yeah, where we competed that time.
Yeah. I think we got some that time. That was we got some. Those were good.
Those are like $4 each, and you're like,
"That's just crazy."
I might as well just buy a dozen.
It's interesting. I love donuts, dude, but I also am very partial to the old school Wenchels kind of like donut shop that you walk in and they have the case and it's like, the old school fritters, the frosted, the sprinkles, the old fashions. I love the smell of those. Mm-hmm. I had a buddy that worked there when I was like just out of high school. And we would always go in there late night and he would just like feed us all the chocolate milk and donuts that we wanted. And it's probably that nostalgia that kicks in every time I walk into these places, but man, there's something about it. Are you a Dunkin' Donuts fan?
So we have a couple around here and I really don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's overrated. The coffee it's funny because I'm telling you about all the sweet stuff that I eat. The coffee is just like, there's not even coffee in it. It's like, this is brown liquid that we're calling coffee, but it's sugar.
Yeah.
And it's a gallon.
Yeah. I don't get their coffee drinks. But anytime anytime. I've only gone to the East Coast a couple times, but the one time that I did go with Alana, like it was like one of those things I like, ooh, Dunkin' Donuts, they don't have those in Oregon. And we got one and I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
that's cool.
I would much rather, and I know this is different because it's much more bougie, but we do have like Krispy Kremes out here. And I would much rather have a Krispy Kreme than a Dunkin'.
Man, I have very, very different views on Krispy Kreme just because like Krispy
Kreme glaze. That's
okay.
It.
Yeah.
Everything else is whatever.
If it's warm right out, like they used to, I don't know if they still do this, but you can get it right out of the fryer.
Yep.
Like, and warm. There's not a donut that beats that. I will give you that. The reason why I'm a downer on Krispy Kremes is because everybody in Portland thinks it's so awesome that there's got to be a 45-minute line to get in there, and I'm just like, I'm not into that.
No, I'm not. Nothing is worth that.
No, I agree with that.
But 100%. if I'm gonna get a commercial donut, I would choose Krispy Kreme over Dunkin'.
All right, there it is. All right, well, we're at 40 minutes, great show.
Yeah,
a lot of talk there. Shoot, I'm gonna see you on Friday morning.
How you feeling? You ready?
I'm ready. I couldn't feel better. I like the plan. I actually think the plan's going to get a little bit better throughout the week, but we're going to stick with what we've talked about. And I took yesterday off. I did some jerk stuff that we talked about, but other than that, that's it. Nice. And I'm going to work through whatever kind of taper she has for me this week, and feeling good, feeling a little light, but that's okay. I'm just eating how I want and when I want, and not worrying about cutting. So that's good, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for it to happen. I'm excited for it to be over. I'm all excited about the whole damn thing. So I'm ready.
And it looks like I'm probably going to rent a car.
Okay. I was going to talk to you about that off the air. So we're going to talk about that, but, cool. Hey, everybody out there. You noticed it. We're doing these live shows on YouTube. I am not the type that wants to say this, but get out there and subscribe to my YouTube, please. That way, when the show's going on, because, you never know. Could be a random show here and there. It could be cool. But other than that, Cornell, thanks, buddy. Appreciate you always being on here and being consistent and doing that. So look forward to seeing you later this week.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Adios.
Bye.